this country, from barns to windmills, we're conversion crazy. The trouble is, they have a very nasty habit of turning into nightmare developments.
There's a job on every single corner and every single room. There's not one piece of wall or floor I can look at that doesn't need doing.
The harsh reality is getting any conversion right takes a lot of skill, more than a little luck, and bucket loads of determination.
I don't want to property develop anymore. I want to go home. Oh dear.
Tonight I'm meeting two sets of developers who have fallen for the old world appeal of two very different properties. But both buildings do have one trait in common. They're about as far away as you can get from being successful 21st century homes. Carpenter Vaughan Dibble and his partner Jackie Vickers are jumping in at the deep end with their first property development. This 18th century thatched cottage in Elm, Cambridgeshire, might ooze chocolate box charm, but the entire roof needs rethatching and inside it's completely unmodernised. With so much work to do, a focused business-like approach will be needed to make the most of the development.
I think we're nearly sort of emotionally involved already with the place.
I'm very emotionally involved with this house because I love it.
That's meant to be the big no-no of doing up property, though.
I know. So we do have to look at it as a business venture now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's going to be very difficult.
Jackie and Vaughan aren't the only ones who have been seduced by an old property. 70 miles away in Weissall, outside Nottingham, Steve Lum has bought this Victorian chapel.
There's just so few of these opportunities that you've just got to grab them when you can, you know, and I've just been so fortunate and so blessed to get the opportunity to do this. I feel privileged, you know, to be able to do this. I really do.
Steve is putting all his faith and all his money into the chapel. He sold his home and his shop to fund the development. What an amazing building. As a first development, you're very brave. But to go from running a shop to deciding you're going to start developing and then buying that as your first go, you thought you'd just jump in, yeah?
Well, I think life's a gamble, isn't it? Life for taking a few risks.
Certainly is if you do this kind of thing.
And I just turned 40 this year, Sarah, so I thought this is the time to do something now if I'm going to do something quite radical.
So are you having a midlife crisis?
I think so. I think I've been having it for the last 5 years, to be honest.
Really? Churches lend themselves to fabulous contemporary design, but Steve's plans couldn't be more different. The building consists of a main chapel and a dilapidated schoolroom behind. Steve plans to create a whole new floor which will slice through the 10-foot-high windows. Upstairs, he's creating a master suite, a bathroom and 2 further bedrooms. While downstairs, he's planning a study, 4th bedroom and a lounge. Steve also plans to create a small garden by reducing the size of the new kitchen diner. This idea seems a great one, but I don't think all of his other ideas are quite so inspired. What bothers me is if you just put a floor in and you just try and make it a conventional house, it's just not as good as another house.
But you're still going to have the original features externally. That's the thing. It's going to be the contrast, isn't it? That yeah, you've got all the luxury of the modern living space internally, but you've got the traditional outside which you haven't got from a modern day box.
Except all upstairs you're going to have roof lights and windows at this height.
Yes, which are quite a nice feature.
Or a little odd. The key to this development is making the most of the unusual building. To get the maximum return, the design inside needs to reflect it's a chapel. I would embrace the sense of space by creating a mezzanine floor. Upstairs would have 2 double bedrooms and a good-sized bathroom. Downstairs, the open-plan living area with double-height ceiling would celebrate the tall windows, which in a chapel are a major selling feature. On the rest of the ground floor, there'd be room for a guest bedroom with ensuite, utility behind that, and a rejig kitchen breakfast room to the rear.
You're essentially making this then a two-bedroom property without a master suite, because the space you'd have upstairs would only be able to accommodate two quite small bedrooms.
The chances are whoever lives here, they're going to be a couple or a single person who don't have children because it hasn't got a big garden, and they'll use the space upstairs, and when they have guests, they'll use the guest suite downstairs.
I hear what you say, and I know that the wow factor of creating a mezzanine floor is something that is really attractive, but I think it'll be a property that will be much more user-friendly.
I think the danger is that it just might miss lots of markets, and someone who wants something absolutely, it's sort of mind-blowing, won't want to buy it, and then a family who wants a traditional house won't want to buy it either. Steve bought the chapel for £155,000. He has a budget of £145,000, and he's hoping to sell for £400,000 to make a £100,000 profit, which I reckon, with his current design, is very optimistic. If it's really, really amazing, you can get top end for this. But if it's mediocre and OK, I think you'd be looking at 350.
I'd be disappointed with 350. I think that 400 is really, to make the profit that we want, is a realistic achievement.
What does this mean for you? I mean, is this it?
Yeah, I mean, everything's on the line with this. I've given up my livelihood, I've given up my house, my mortgage, to sink into this venture. It has to work.
And if it doesn't work?
I don't want to contemplate that option. You know, I don't do failure, and, you know, this can't fail.
Unfortunately, there's a real danger that's exactly what he'll do. A good old rethink should be on the cards to really take full advantage of this development. In Elm, Cambridgeshire, carpenter Vaughan Dibble and bookkeeper Jackie Vickers are also investing everything they have in their first development. This 300-year-old cottage. Now, you were looking for ages for this development, were you?
Years.
Good sort of 2 or 3 years, if not longer, just saw it in a estate agent's window and...
See the potential.
We sort of fell in love with it.
Yeah, I know.
So is this a development, or have you just fallen in love with this house?
Definitely a development. We have to sell it. It must be sold, but...
Are you sure about that too?
Well...
You're not, are you?
When we first came to see it, we did fall in love and we just thought we could live here. But I don't think it's going to happen. So we're going back to our original idea of property development.
Jackie and Vaughan have remortgaged their home to finance the development and so have to make this a success. They bought the cottage for £220,000 and have a budget of £110,000, hoping to sell for £350,000. This would make them £20,000. It's a slim profit for what's likely to be 6 months hard graft. Vaughan is doing most of the work himself on site, while Jackie looks after the budget at home. Do you think he's capable of this?
Oh, definitely.
And do you think he'll finish on time?
Probably not. I think he underestimates what
Timing of things
timing,
sometimes,
yeah,
yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Well, you've got a big task ahead of you.
We certainly have.
Yep.
Vaughan faces a monumental amount of work for a very modest profit. But I think there may be more money to be made here. The question is, will Jackie and Vaughan do what it takes? In Elm, Cambridgeshire, carpenter Vaughan Dibble and his partner Jackie are starting out on their 6-month build. They're investing £110,000 to update this 18th century cottage. It's a mammoth task. The thatch and decor are beyond repair, and the layout doesn't work. I think the problem is this is the main thoroughfare of the whole house, so people who want to go upstairs come through this room, people who want to go to the 4th bedroom go through this room, out of the front door, you go through this room, you go through to the current kitchen from it, and everything is going through this room, and yet it's such a big room. The property is spread over 2 floors. Upstairs, the 3 bedrooms and family bathroom need updating. But it's the layout downstairs that's the problem. The 4th bedroom and 2 reception rooms and kitchen are all wrapped around one large central area. Jackie and Vaughan's plan is to create a kitchen and breakfast room in the rear reception, with a dining room to the front, meaning the only place to put the family sitting room is in what's basically an oversized hallway.
I think the problem is this is a sitting room, it's the main thoroughfare area of the house, so people are going to be sitting in here trying to chill out, and it's effectively a corridor.
But that doesn't mean that there isn't a solution. We don't use dining rooms very often, so this is a good use for the awkward central area. Then I'd move the wall in the rooms next door, which would allow enough space for a kitchen breakfast room and create a decent-sized family sitting room at the front.
It's quite a good idea, really. I don't like to say it, but I think it's quite a reasonable idea. It could work, actually.
Yeah, it's a bit weird because we've already sort of got in our minds what we're going to do.
Yeah. But I thought I had all the good ideas, but apparently you've got some as well. So we might take a few on board, you never know.
With Jackie and Vaughan on side, I'm hoping they'll stay open-minded about my next idea, which I think is a no-brainer.
I really strongly think that the back part of the garage you should convert it into a home office, or it can be a granny flat or an au pair's flat, or it can be a cottage that you rent out. It can have all of these different uses, and that is going to be what I think is going to add a tremendous amount of value above everything else onto this house.
Yes, I saw that as a workshop-type studio, but a bedroom's not a bad idea. I never thought about getting a bedroom on the outside,
We need
really.
another bedroom.
I think it's flexible space that you're looking for there. That's how I feel about it.
Well, then it'd be worth adding or trying to find the money from somewhere to do what you're suggesting. But there's no guarantee, is there? I'm so cautious about...
There's never any guarantees in life, and there's never a guarantee with property developing. I mean, if you want a safe bet and a safe return, you shouldn't be developing property. If I'm going to put my neck on the line, I think you could get up to $500,000 for this house.
Oh, I can only laugh.
I'm not having any of that. I can't see that.
Do you feel that you are brave enough to spend a bit more, to get a bit more? Well, a lot more.
I think we'd have to do our homework a bit more to see if that is... it's frightened the life out of me. We haven't got any more money to spend on it, so I'm not quite sure how we work that one out.
Developing is all about maximising the potential of your property. For Jackie and Vaughan, that means finding the courage to invest even more cash in their development. In Wysall, it's all about layout. Or at least it should be.
Oh my God! What have they done to my chapel?
Steve's plan is to create a fairly standard home, which I believe would be selling the chapel short. A mezzanine floor would not only make the most of the building, but also Steve's profit. Hopefully this conversion will help him see the light.
Now, this is indisputably a chapel, because you've got the full height of the windows, you can see all the way up the 2 stories, and you've got this immense sense of space and light. And I think if there was a floor that went right the way across and chopped all the windows in half, there just wouldn't be that sense of space and light.
The inside of an unusual building should make as strong a statement as the outside, like the contemporary interior here.
This is a very bespoke design. This has been very much done for these people, hasn't it?
Do you know, I think this has been done for the best design for this building. More bedrooms is obviously a good thing if you've got the space for them. You're better off with less really good-sized bedrooms and a really fantastic living area than you are putting more bedrooms in come hell or high water. I just feel that with the size of your garden, which is never going to be a family house because the garden is not big enough to be a family home.
It could be a small family house. It could be one child. I mean, that
Then
garden...
why would they want 4 bedrooms?
Well, 3 upstairs and 1 downstairs, which you could use as a bedroom or a study.
Personally, the way I see it, I think that you're trying to appeal to all possible markets, and I don't think you can do that. And the danger with doing that is you appeal to no possible markets because it sort of misses everyone.
OK.
And the people who want a chapel go inside and they think, oh, this isn't the sort of chapel interior I expected. Oh, well, I'll go and buy something else. But, hey, it's your money.
It certainly is.
The trick to developing these sorts of buildings is to capitalise on their best features, which invariably are the things that make them stand out from an ordinary property. The charm of this 19th century windmill lies in its curves, which have been left well alone. The glass ceiling and viewing gallery show off rather than hide the building's unusual height. Covering up the beams in this barn would have lost the unique appeal of the property. While the period features in this Gothic bank are not just reminders of its heritage, but the very things that make it a desirable conversion. Taking full advantage of what's unique and special about unusual buildings is the best way to maximise their value. Steve, however, has decided to do the opposite.
The one sure thing is that the floor will go in. That's pretty definite now.
And the floor goes down. I only hope he doesn't come to regret his decision.
Yes, it's different, isn't it? Yeah, very different. This is very dark indeed. These windows have been compromised. There's no doubt about it. I'm disappointed. Very disappointed. So I don't want to properly develop anymore. I want to go home. Oh dear.
70 miles away in Elm, Jackie and Vaughan seem to have taken some of my advice. They're planning to move the wall between the 2 reception rooms to create enough space for the kitchen at the back and a decent-sized family sitting room at the front.
Come see, come ça. Bit different, isn't it? Mind the nails and stuff.
But seeing the room opened up throws Jackie into confusion.
I can't get over it. I don't know what to do now. I really, really don't know what to do. I really, really like it as it is, and I don't think I want to put the wall back up. I think I want to leave it as a big kitchen diner.
In a big family house like this, it's much better to have a separate sitting room and a kitchen diner. Instead of sabotaging existing plans, they should be raising the funds to convert the garage. It's an easy way to more than double their slender £20,000 profit.
As for a granny flat, I just can't see that working. Granny flat stroke, maid's annex, can't see it myself. I think she's bonkers.
I can understand that Jackie and Vaughan are nervous about spending any more money because things are tight as they are. To rethatch the property, they've set aside £23,000. To bring the labour and materials in at £25,000, Vaughan will have to work himself ragged. £19,000 for a new kitchen, utility room and 3 bathrooms is tight. For plumbing, heating and electrics, they have £13,000. They've allocated a modest £4,000 for decorating, with £21,000 for professional costs and interest payments and a contingency of £5,000. The budget for this development will be a stretch at £110,000. There's no cash in there for an annex, but if Jackie and Vaughan spent a bit more, they could significantly up their profit, as the owners of this cottage 35 miles away have done.
Right.
Turning this one-time garage into a granny flat has added £60,000 to the value of this property. I'm hoping it will help Jackie and Vaughan see the full potential of their own development.
I mean, if you lived in that house, how would you want it to be?
I'd envisaged it as being used partly by someone as a workshop or a studio.
With a study/stroke office at the end.
Yeah, with maybe a study office at the end. I don't know if
That not all be together and just cut a tiny little bathroom and a kitchenette out of that space. It means that the space is even more flexible then, and instead of just being an office, it could also be a granny annex, space for an au pair. You could rent it out if you wanted to. You have lots and lots of different options, and ultimately, the more flexible space is, the better it suits the family market.
Well, it could possibly work.
I think that you could stand to make the same amount on the outbuilding as you do on the house. Well,
Yeah,
gutting thought, eh?
There's that. Yeah.
Adding square footage is a surefire way of increasing the value of a property. I really hope Jackie and Vaughan can overcome their fears and find the extra cash. In Weissel, Steve Lum is now 14 weeks into his conversion of this Victorian chapel. Steve's ploughed ahead with cutting the chapel in half with a floor all the way across. Despite initial misgivings, he's unrepentant.
I've got no doubts now. You know, I stuck to my guns, put the floor in, and the end result is going to be fantastic.
But my efforts haven't entirely been in vain. Having seen another chapel conversion, Steve has been inspired to rethink his ground floor layout.
What I propose to do is to try and create more of an open plan feel downstairs. So I'm going to lose the downstairs bedroom. I'm going to keep the study, but move it to the back. So as you're walking through the front door, you get this complete open plan, light, airy feel to the space.
I'd still love him to go further, but this is a definite improvement.
So the ceiling's in.
Yeah.
Not going to take it down, maybe, if I persuade you?
No.
OK, I'll drop it, shall I?
Please do, Sarah. Yeah.
OK.
Unfortunately, Steve's new plans create a new problem. His stairs will be slap bang in the middle of his sitting room, effectively turning it into a corridor. The solution, though, is simple. Twisting the stairs around will divert the busy kitchen traffic away from the living area.
Well, there's a slight hiccup in this plan because the stairs are ordered, unfortunately.
Right, how much are they?
About £700.
I would feel that the impact that it will make, the difference that it will make, would be worth swallowing £700, because I think it would be so much better being able to have a private sitting room rather than a thoroughfare. And it's quite easy to do. I
think on balance, if we can satisfy the planners and make it work, and it's not going to cost too much upheaval, then I think for £700, it's worth a crack.
Even though moving the stairs may well cause a delay, it's worth it. A layout that works really well will undoubtedly generate more profit than one that doesn't. In Elm, the one job Vaughan isn't taking on gets underway. Rethatching the cottage is a whopping 1/5 of their budget, but it has to be done.
I think it's really put the character back into the cottage, because it looked sort of so worn and old and sort of tired before, but now it's sort of bringing it back to life again now. So it's just looking completely stunning, absolutely stunning.
Inside, though, things haven't been going as well. Halfway through moving the wall between the reception rooms, Jackie and Vaughan had a change of heart.
What we were thinking of. We were going to have an open plan. Now we've gone back to third plan now, I think it is. Are we on the third or fourth plan?
I don't know.
Incredibly, it's taken 8 weeks to make up their minds.
Now we finally decided the layout now. The kitchen at the front, wall up, lounge in the back.
But I'm still not sure it's quite right, because having the kitchen at the front of the house would be a shame.
At the moment, you're now thinking that this is going to be the kitchen instead of this room.
Yep.
Is that right? I have to say, I think that you spent 2 months making the wrong decision. I'll tell you why I think the kitchen has to be there. Apart from anything else, this is the nicest room in the house, and the nicest room in the house, it would be most logical in today's lifestyle for it to be the kitchen, because that's where people spend most time. And if you've got the kitchen at the front here and you've got the kids in the back, you'd have to run every time the kids were in the garden and check that they were OK, and then you'd have to come running back and back to the kitchen. And this is an awfully long way to go when you'd be hanging out in the kitchen and all the actions in the garden.
No, so you've thrown one of those spanners in the works again now.
Yeah, thanks for that.
No.
We've been 2 months deciding that. I don't know whether I'm actually convinced. I really don't know.
So what is your decision? Where do you want to put the kitchen?
Here.
Kitchen here?
Yeah.
You think it works?
But as Sarah says, that's where people spend most of their time, in the kitchen diner, so perfect.
In a family house, a kitchen diner overlooking the garden is a definite winner.
Today's decision, definitely final?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, no, not said with a question in my voice, definitely final.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm going for it.
In Weissel, Steve Lum is 4 months through his plans to convert this Victorian chapel. Thankfully, his initial design has changed, but now Steve plans to fill up the space with gadgets he just doesn't need.
Not one thing alone is going to make this chapel sell. It's going to be the whole package. But I'm just trying to do as much as I can, you know, in a cost-effective way that will appeal to my market.
This sounds more like therapy for Steve's midlife crisis. There's no point in splashing out on gimmicks that don't bring in a return.
The truth is are you actually just having a bit of a play around with some boys' toys, really?
Not really. Not really. I'm trying to introduce things that nice to haves, which are easy to do at this stage, but you know, to do them after the event would cause a lot of disruption.
Some of the things are a great idea. For instance, your speakers. It's great to have speakers. It's very little extra cost at this stage, so I would agree with you. It's a good idea. I think maybe your centralised vacuuming system was one step too far. I would question whether it's easier to carry this great big huge roll of cable than it would be just to take a vacuum cleaner around the house. And I think that probably your CCTV is one step too far as well. I personally think that closed-circuit TV in a little village may even put somebody off buying the house, because it does smack to me of a high crime rate.
By putting CCTV up, I don't think we'll change people's minds about the location.
The problem I have with it is I think that it's unnecessary gadgetry. Before you know it, you'll have spent an extra £5 you don't need to.
Yeah, I take your point. So would you like to buy a second-hand vacuum cleaner?
No, thanks.
Steve's happy spending money on these devices, but he's reluctant to spend where it really counts. And now decides to rule out moving the stairs, which would make the downstairs layout really work.
This property developing's hard enough as it is, and to start undoing things when it's quite major stuff, you know, I just haven't got the inclination and the energy to revisit these issues. The stairs are staying, yeah. Sticking to my guns yet again.
A world away from 21st century technology in Elm, Vaughan Dibble is halfway through his 6-month build. And the stress of developing is beginning to show as he uncovers problem after problem. Having taken down the ceiling, he's revealed rotten joists that need replacing, adding 4 weeks to a schedule that's beginning to look decidedly shaky.
Can't walk around the house at all, anywhere, in any room, without seeing everything needs a job. There's a job on every single corner and every single room. There's not one piece of wall or floor I can look at that doesn't need doing. I shall plod on and I shall do it. I shall do it, I shall finish it. It's just taking that little bit longer than we thought, that's all.
With most of the work still ahead of him, Vaughan plans to add to his workload by building a bespoke kitchen himself. I'm really worried that this could push their schedule and Vaughan to breaking point. I'm hoping a trip to the local cabinet makers can persuade him to think again.
You're thinking it'll take 2 weeks, aren't you?
Yeah, somewhere around about there, yeah.
But these guys here, to build the amount of kitchen that you're talking about, it would take them 3 guys, 3 weeks. And that's with all of this joinery and machinery. We're going to be there till Christmas.
I just think I can do them. I just really think I can get that done in that sort of time.
Well, I don't question your ability to be able to do it. I would question how long it would take you to do. And therefore, whether it's cost-effective, you doing it rather than someone else doing it, and you spending your time doing something else on the site. And let's be honest, there's plenty to do, isn't there?
Well, there is other finishing stuff I can do, but to still see someone fit a kitchen just goes against the grain for me, that's all.
And what do you feel?
If it's going to take much longer than 2 weeks, I think it's definitely needs reconsidering.
But I could maybe let go.
I think you'll have to, actually.
I think you have
I really do think you'll have to.
Well, there's 2 women bashing me, so I probably haven't got much choice at the end of the day.
It's decision made, isn't it?
Having let go of the kitchen, they reach the conclusion that Vaughan flying 100% solo is perhaps a false economy. And Jackie and Vaughan bring in a team of helpers. With more people on site, the cottage finally starts to take shape. Suddenly, their 6-month schedule doesn't seem so unrealistic after all. And Vaughan decides he's ready to tackle the garage. But as often happens with old houses, as soon as he starts, he uncovers a problem. There's a septic tank, which could cost as much as £12,000 to re-site.
I just don't think we'd get the money back by the time we'd spent out for the septic tank and moving all this stuff and changing it all around. I just don't think we're ever going to get that money back. In a way, I'm fed up, but in a way, it's going to be a little bit easier just to make this look nice and tidy out here.
A successful development squeezes the potential out of every inch of a property. Even with the extra costs, converting the garage could more than double Jackie and Vaughan's profit. It would be a shame to see them miss out. 70 miles away in Wysall, the development is in its 5th month, and the rooms of the Victorian chapel are being boarded out. Steve's gone shopping. He's hoping wallpaper will give the chapel the finishing touch it needs.
Well, I want to make a real statement in that chapel. I want to make the best of that space. I want to make it interesting.
The downside of wallpaper is that it's expensive to put up, and if buyers don't like it, a real pain to change.
Hello there, how are you?
I'm very well, how are you?
Experience has taught me that Steve is a hard man to talk around, but I've got a plan. Wallpaper pictures. Easy to do and even easier to get rid of.
So what do you reckon? Is that good?
That's great, yeah.
Not only do you have to buy less wallpaper, so it's cheaper, and it's flexible for the buyer, and ultimately that's what you need to achieve in a development, is flexibility for the buyer.
This sort of idea could be dotted around the house using different styles and designs, yeah.
So scrap the wallpaper on the walls, yeah?
I think so, yeah.
Hey, good. A good result then.
Keeping the decorating scheme simple will definitely make the most of the chapel. With just 5 weeks to go, it will also give the development a fighting chance to come in on schedule. Steve's starting to size up the end of his property venture.
The bottom line is, you do something like this to make a profit, otherwise you might as well just sit back, put it in a bank account and go abroad. You know, so I'm quite realistic in the sense that if it doesn't come in at a profit, then it's been a failure.
In Cambridgeshire, 7 months after they set out, Jackie and Vaughan are at the end of their development. And despite the hiccups, they've turned this run-down thatched cottage into something very special. Moving the wall between the 2 reception rooms has created a comfortable family sitting room. At the back, there's now a superb kitchen breakfast room overlooking the garden. with rustic tones that feel just right for this country cottage.
God, this is great, isn't it?
Yeah, we like it.
I can't quite get over how well the layout of this house now is. At one stage you were thinking about having the kitchen at the front.
Yes.
Do you now wish you had the kitchen at the front, or...?
Certainly not.
No, with the view
No.
we've got out the garden now and everything, it just really works so well.
So are you pleased with how it turned out? Do you think you could have built it better?
I think it's amazing.
I'm absolutely thrilled with it. As you said, you know, I did other things while people were doing the kitchen, and I needed that time. I really did need that time.
The finish is really excellent, and I don't say that lightly.
Next door, what was a problematic central area now feels ideal as a formal dining room. The quality finish is continued in the bedrooms and bathrooms, which would fit right in to the chicest of hotels. But there is one thing that stops this development being an out-and-out success.
And I noticed you didn't decide to do the outbuilding.
You spotted that, did you?
Yeah. It is a bit of a shame. I can understand your reasons, but I think you could have persevered and done it.
Financially, it was going to be really, really tough, and we've already spent far more than we'd ever intended to. We couldn't have done it.
Is the truth that you just kind of ran out of steam, really?
Yeah, I've definitely run out of energy. I've definitely run out of energy now. I haven't got a stroke left in me, I don't think, now.
Vaughan worked his fingers to the bone to keep the costs down, but has it paid off?
Now, you bought this house for £220,000, didn't you? And you were hoping to spend £110,000 renovating it. How much did you end up spending?
134.
Right, and so that means the total project cost is 354. Bearing in mind you were hoping to sell it for 350, it would constitute a £4,000 loss.
It's good, this building game.
How much do you think you could get for it now?
If it was around 400 and...
Yeah, we both said we would never let it go below 4 now.
Now?
Just the amount of time and effort and sweat that's gone into it.
Placing a value on such a unique property, especially in a cooling market, isn't easy. Jackie and Vaughan are hoping to make £50,000 more than they had originally planned. But what will the agents think?
It's nice how they've done the original fireplace with the wood burner, and they've got the original beams still here as well.
This is a great kitchen breakfast room due to the size, the quality of the handmade kitchen and views of the garden.
This is fantastic building. It would make a really good project to be either an annex or a studio.
The finish is excellent, really done to a high standard. I would market this property at £390,000.
I would market this property at £475,000.
We have had 2 valuations in. First one came in at £390,000 and the other one came in at £475,000.
Awesome.
Wow. It's a big difference.
I think 475 is the more realistic figure.
Oh, my God.
Do you really?
Yeah. You went into this project thinking you might make £20,000 in 6 months, but the reality is it looks like you might make £125,000.
Look, nothing coming out. Look, nothing coming out. Speechless.
The market hasn't gone up that much in this area. So the added value that you have put on this house is not because of house price rises, it's purely down to the fact that you have earned the money by doing the work.
Yeah, thanks. I just don't know what to say.
We also asked the agents how much they reckon it would add to the value of this if you turned the outbuilding into an annex, and they said it could be as much as £50,000. So at £475,000 for the top valuation, if you added another £50,000 on it, you'd be looking at £525,000 as the value of this house.
It would make it all very worthwhile, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something very satisfying about those numbers.
In Weissel, Steve Lum's chapel conversion is also at an end. He's about to find out whether standing by his decisions has paid off.
Over the course of time, I think my expectations have been managed down a little bit.
In Heysel, Nottinghamshire, 7 months after he started, Steve Lum has finished his development right on schedule. Inside, regrettably, it's unrecognisable as a chapel, but it is undeniably a modern home. And there's no doubt the open plan layout gives the ground floor a bright and spacious feel, despite putting in a first floor.
But this is so much better than I expected it to be.
Oh, I'm glad you said that.
I'm still a bit sad that you can't see the whole height here and that it's not a kind of an amazing chapel inside as well as outside. But it's beautifully finished, and you've got injections of colour and injections of style, which work really well. I noticed you didn't do the wallpaper in the end.
No, I mean, I took your advice on board there. That would have been a very permanent addition, which meant that someone buying this property may have to change if they didn't like it. Whereas with 2 settees, you just replace them, don't you?
Steve's right, though I lost the battle on the stairs.
We did talk about moving the stairs to over here, didn't we? So, because as they are now, when you're upstairs and you come downstairs, you have to go through the sitting room here and through the dining room to get to the kitchen.
To have changed it and to have gone back to the planners would have delayed the project substantially. But I do take your point that it's not ideal. Apart from the study, there isn't a room you can close off downstairs. But the glass doors do something to that degree. But yes, you've still got a thoroughfare to a degree.
At the back of the house, knocking down a third of the old schoolroom has created a bijou outside space. That leads into a kitchen diner that again feels clean and modern. Thankfully, Steve did hold back on many of the gadgets, but I have to admit there's one gizmo in here that's caught my eye.
This, I'm so impressed with this. This is really exciting. I've never seen one of these before. And this gives you chilled filtered water or boiling water on tap all day.
It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic, yeah.
And doesn't keep it hot, it heats it as you
No, it takes the feed from the coal supply and heats it in its system, and if you're a teaholic like me, then it's just a fantastic little gadget.
Loving this.
Yeah.
Upstairs has everything a family would need. 2 smaller bedrooms plus a master bedroom with stylish ensuite. And I think Steve's gone a long way to offsetting the layout issues by finishing everything to a remarkably high standard.
Well, it's a fantastic achievement. It looks great, the house. But how much did it all cost? It must have cost a lot.
The plan was to bring it all in for 300,000, and I brought it in for £297,000.
Hey, what a result. That's fantastic. Under budget.
Just under budget.
You were originally hoping to get 400 for it, weren't you?
Yeah, I think over the course of time, I think my expectations have been managed down a little bit.
What level would make it worth?
I think 350 would be nice. I think 350 would justify taking sort of a year out of your life to do something like this.
Whether it's been worth a year of Steve's life is now down to the agents.
It's got a nice, bright, airy, open-plan feel.
Well, it's a bit of a shame that they've not got any floor-to-roof open space.
Great sun trap, although the size of the garden may limit its appeal to the family market.
But I feel that the staircase is an intrusion.
Some nice features with the arch windows.
And I think the glass here and the ability to walk straight through almost brings the decking into the kitchen. I would market this property at a price of £365,000.
I'd market this property at £375,000.
I would market this property at £400,000.
We have had 3 valuations in, and they came in at 365, 375 and 400,000. So that would mean you'd make between 68,000 and 103,000 pounds profit.
That's nice, isn't it? Yeah, that's made it all worthwhile then, hasn't it?
Has it?
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. Not bad for 7 months' work, is it really?
Not bad at all.
Yeah, I mean, that exceeds expectations, I think. Yeah, fantastic.
Good, good. So that makes you a happy man?
It does. But
Yeah.
it's what you can get for it at the end of the day, isn't it?
You could have made possibly more on this if you were really entering that niche market, and that was always the risk, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
and I think that's the risk that I wasn't prepared to take. you
Yeah.
know.
It's time to find out if that aversion to risk will turn on or put off the buyers.
First impressions are fantastic, look great. One of the most impressive buildings in the village.
It's a good space, really, really lovely and light.
Love the floor, love the flow through the building, it's great.
To be honest, it's probably a bit small for the children, isn't it?
Yes, there's not much room for them.
Oh, look at that! Oh, that's gorgeous. Overall, I like it a lot. I'm not sure I would go for it.
I think we'd have to go away and think about it before putting an offer in.
It is a wonderful finish, but I can't shake the conviction that this property is neither a family home nor a cutting-edge space for a design-conscious couple, and so it may take some time to sell.
You said when you started this project that this was a bit of a kind of midlife crisis. Has this been the solution? Is this the medicine you needed?
Well, there's no solution to my midlife crisis. That'll just go on and on and on.
Is this going to continue to another
Stumble on
crisis?
to the next thing, yeah, you know, but...
Has it been a good tonic, though?
therapeutic.
So you're feeling better at the end of it now, though, than from the beginning?
No, not really. I'm
Oh,
absolutely
worse.
exhausted. Absolutely exhausted with it all, and I need a holiday, but...
Do you feel satisfied?
Very satisfied, yeah, yeah.
But
So,
it's not going to be a full-time career?
I don't think so. I don't think so. And not because it's been a negative experience, it's just because...
Not you?
Not really me, no.
Both Steve in Wysall and Jackie and Vaughan in Elm had charming period properties to develop, and what they did do, they executed beautifully. But neither of them were willing to really stick their necks on the line and squeeze out every last penny of profit. And the danger in a business where good deals are hard to find is that you never know when your next opportunity may come along.
Next week, two sets of developers turn to problem properties to break into the sky-high London market.
This is relatively unmortgageable with these subsidence issues.
No.
You're scaring us,
Yeah.
Sarah.
We've really got to balls this up and do it completely wrong if we don't make any money in this.
If you'd like to be in the next series of Property Ladder, contact us at www.channel4.com/take part.
If you want the chance to win a luxurious Spanish apartment, go to channel4.com/4homes and play our fantasy property game. And if you missed the Beanie's advice, check out Property Ladder again on Channel 4+1 right now. Brighton rocks with Gordon Ramsay when he's kicked out of a failing fish restaurant. His worst nightmare. Next on 4.